What's up, Cowboys family? It's your boy Jay Tuck, and you are now tuned into the Cowboys Fans Only channel. So if you're new, do me a huge favor, comment, like, subscribe somewhere down there, somewhere down there, somewhere down there. And be sure to turn that notification bell to stay updated with all Dallas Cowboys content. Also, follow me on Twitter at JTuck151. And of course, go to CowboysFansOnly.com to get your official CFO merch. Listen, y'all, listen, Linda, listen. When you go to CowboysFansOnly.com, use the code CFOGame to get your 10% off. I've been saying it on the channel. A lot of people were buying merch and like, oh, I forgot all about that, Tuck. I appreciate it, but use the code, man, because you guys are family, and that's my gift to you. But Cowboys fam, I got a real special treat tonight, and we're not going to be long tonight, but if you kind of pick up on the energy, whether it's on Facebook groups, salute to my Star Gang family, or, on Twitter, there's been a lot of built-up hostility, stress amongst the Cowboys fans. So I said, you know what? Tonight, I am going to do something a little different than what I usually do. And this person I got the pleasure to meet actually when I was out there in Oxnard, and she had great energy. It's a great spirit. And when we had a conversation, she was like, I'm a yoga trainer and a mental health instructor for a lot of players in the NFL. So I called her up and was like, hey, you got to come on my show right now because Dallas Cowboys Nation needs you right now. So CFO gang, I would like to welcome to the channel, Stacey Hickman. What's going on, Stacey?
Hi, what's up?
What's up? So like I said, y'all, she is one of the yoga trainers. Now I want to say this. We all watch Hard Knocks on Tuesday, this past Tuesday. That was not her. So I know a lot of people might get that confused. That was not her. But you have been a yoga instructor for the Dallas Cowboys previously, I believe in 2018, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so 2018. So a few years ago, she was one of the yoga instructors. So I brought Stacey in. We're going to have a conversation. And I felt like this could be helpful, not only for Dallas Cowboys content, right? Because, of course, we're here to talk football. But I think a lot of people, they struggle with their day-to-day, whether it's mental health, whether it's fitness, whether it's spirituality, a few different things. And so if you watch my channel, sometimes I might do a show when I'm in the gym because I'm all about wellness, having everything, you're stable, built intact. And so I think there's going to be a great conversation tonight that a lot of people can really pull from, what we definitely want to discuss. But Stacey, the very first question I have to ask you, how did you get started in doing what you currently do right now?
Wild story. I started teaching yoga 12 years ago. Before that, I was in fitness, personal trainer, owned a personal training studio, did, nutrition and things. I was an athlete growing up, so played soccer. And as I went from personal training into yoga led to more of learning about meditation and breath work and brought me through my own kind of mental health journey. That led me to be teaching yoga in a class. Somebody came up to me during class after, and he was obviously a bigger dude. And I said, you obviously play sports? And he said, yeah, NFL. I'm towards the end of my career. He was actually a long snapper for the Eagles, John Dorenbos, if anybody remembers him and his story. But he had told me, I wish I had yoga earlier on in my career. It would have saved me a lot of heartache and headache. And I thought, I see a need there. There isn't anybody kind of bringing yoga into the NFL world. So I just started to think on it. I started to pick his brain. I started to ask him questions and then just thought, I'm going to manifest a connection with someone who knows more NFL players. And I was at Spin one day, and little do you know, this guy sits next to me. He's an NFL agent. We start having a conversation. I told him what my intentions were and what I wanted to hopefully start to bring into the NFL world. And he was like, that sounds great. Let's get together. I'll kind of help you get into the business. So luckily for him, he kind of brought me in, helped me to connect with more players, started to try stuff out, and here we are, 5.5 years later. That's with great. A pretty
that's great.
So good repertoire.
Exactly. So you never know who you might bump into. Like you said, he wasn't really looking for this opportunity, but it kind of presented itself. And granted, Stacey, my show is called Cowboys Fans Only, but we do have Eagles fans who watch my channel. So what's up, Birdman? He says John is the man, a very awesome person, man. So it's really good to hear that. Yeah. But let me ask you this: when you really started to reach out to players and talk about yoga, because I played football, I know a lot of people in chat play football. It was kind of yoga, nah. So, how receptive were these players, and how did you really get them to buy into the idea of stretching, meditation, yoga? Because it was really taboo, amongst football players for quite some time.
Yeah, and it kind of still is. I mean, luckily it's becoming more mainstream and people are kind of waking up to the realization of how helpful these techniques and modalities really are, not just in football, but in regular life as humans, right? So at first it was tough and people weren't buying in. And I think my approach was just, that's fine. They'll come to me when they're ready. So I would just answer questions. I would have the conversations and then just trust that if it was something that they wanted to find out more about, that they would reach back out to me. So what I would basically do is give them a little blurb about it, give them some benefits, and then do a few things with them, even if it was like in public or wherever it was, and just show them a couple things. And as soon as they started to feel things in their body, even just within 5 minutes, they kind of started to buy in. So once you get them to realize that this is going to lengthen your career, this is going to help with injury prevention, this is going to help with mindset, it's going to help with your breathing, it's going to help keep you on the field better. I mean, those are just small amounts of the benefits of what this can do for a professional athlete in their career, and to help them, number one, make more money. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to make more money, right? We want to have the longest career. We want to have the highest contracts. We want to stay on the field the longest. And we want to take home the bag at the end of the day. So these modalities and techniques will definitely help the player to do that.
Yeah. And I think when it really comes to, an NFL player that I heard really speak about yoga, it was Tom Brady. And we all kind of see what Tom Brady currently does, how his career has been extended, playing at 44 years old. Now, granted, we're going to Tampa to beat Tom Brady, but he always talked about how yoga was very impactful for him. And we kind of still turned our nose up at it, like, oh, he's just a quarterback, it's yoga. But you're starting to hear more of these things emerge amongst players, whether it's veganism, like we're hearing about more vegan NFL players and different mindsets of yoga and stretching and flexibility and to extend their careers. And so it's great to really see them start to put that into place, because like I said, when I came and played football, like my guy Mo said, it was very old school mentality, lots of protein, heavy weights. That's it. Like even today, when I work out, to be honest with you, Stacey, I get on the treadmill for about 2 minutes. I walk for a little bit, and then I'm fully going. I didn't stretch. I didn't do anything. And probably why when I pop my shoulder like that, it cracks and, but I'm going to start to personally to buy into yoga as well. And I reached out to you about some few ideas, which we'll talk about here soon. Now, you work with all different caliber players, whether it's the offensive lineman. I know it's kind of been your niche, in-house, but you also have cornerbacks, wide receivers, a variety of different players. I mean, basketball players. So tell me a little bit about the differences, because you really can't do a one-size-fits-all approach. Tell me, how do you kind of adjust according to the player and their needs specifically?
Yeah, thank you for asking. That's actually one of the reasons I chose to kind of step away from doing the team teaching, because each position, as your fans all know, move in different ways. They have different jobs, they have different movement patterns, they have different intentions of what their job is on the field. My center, I have to teach him in a way that's specific not only to his body, but specific to his job, the way he moves, the way that he needs to go forward, side to side, and whatnot, what his hips need to do, what his feet need to do, which is very different than Dak per se, or Zeke, or maybe Amari or one of my wide receivers. They're going to move, and their movement patterns are going to be much different than my offensive linemen. So I look at a couple things. I look at, number one, what is their position? What do they need to achieve in that position to be successful? How does their body need to move to get them into those different positions? Then I look at their body, right? Because everybody's body is different. Even if I have two centers, their bodies are going to be very different. Their needs are still going to differ somewhat. So then I look at that. I look at their movement patterns specifically in their body. I look at anything that they need to maybe work more on. A lot of it for all players is big toe flexibility. So we always start with big toe flexibility, ankle mobility, and flexibility.
So explain that. So big toe flexibility, what does that mean?
This is the most brilliant thing that I've ever learned, and it really applies to everyone. So I worked with a speed coach a few years ago to just get together with him on how the feet move. Our feet are our foundation. Without our feet, we can't do anything, right? So think of building a house, and we need to have a solid foundation. Same with your body. You need to have a solid foundation in your feet. So if you're big toe flexibility, so say this is the foot, say the thumb is the big toe, it should be able to be all the way up here. Therefore, when it's up higher, I can then push off with a greater amount of force and recruit from my posterior chain, which is my hamstring and my glute. If I don't have big toe flexibility, I can't lift my heel that high, I'm going to recruit from my quad, which is okay, but it's not going to be as effective as using the biggest muscles in our body, which is our abs. So I start to get that big toe flexibility first. Then we work on the ankle mobility, counter, right? Bicep, tricep. Then we go up the chain. We go to calves, we go to IT bands, then we go to hips, lower back. And all of that is like in sequence. So we start at the bottom and we work our way up. It's like unlocking doors.
Wow.
Right? You got to unlock one door to unlock the next door, unlock the next door. I can't just go right in and fix your hips because that's just a Band-Aid. It'll work for a minute, but we have to attack the base and the root of the problem first.
See, that's exactly why I brought you on to explain it. Because I know when we spoke in Oxnard, you were about like right mind thinking and all. I was like, what is she talking about? So it really feels like when I come on these channels and I'm talking about, you know, the 3-4 under and the 4-3 difference, there's so much that really goes into it that I think a lot of fans and even players, they really don't understand that it really takes to keep a player healthy throughout the season, because we know these guys are taking hits after hits and putting a lot of strain on their body, but what's going to be really the thing that's going to keep them prolonged throughout their career? So it's kind of cool to hear you talk about that. You know, big toe flexibility. I'm winking my toes right now. I don't think I have any. I don't think I got it. So I'd like to work on my big toe flexibility to start. Now, one thing I really want to talk about, because we spoke about this in Oxnard, is more the mental aspect, and you kind of help players not only physically getting prepared for game day, but mentally. So tell me some of the thought process and some of the strategies that you use for some of these players as they're getting prepared to go into the game days on Sunday.
Right. I'm so glad you asked that, because, you know, I get most of my guys when they're rookies and help them transition from college. I get them ready for the combine and the draft. And so going into that, I tell them, you're obviously talented. You obviously have what it takes to be here. Your body and your talent is one thing. If your mind isn't in it, you're only going to make it so far, right? The mind has to be there. It has to be solid. So a lot of things that we do to prepare, I mean, I don't just go right into it with them. We develop rapport, we develop a relationship first, and then I see where they're at and where their mindset is. And then depending on what they're dealing with personally, that's what we work on. So I'm a spiritual life coach as well. So I help them to work through maybe whatever limiting beliefs or blocks, whatever confidence maybe issues are coming up, believing in themselves. And then we do a lot of visualization as well. So specifically to games, we look at tape together. We talk about, you know, where maybe they could have done better, where maybe some stuff wasn't optimal. And then we start to look at that. And so I help them retrain the brain, build their central nervous system. And we can talk about that too, but really narrow it down. Like, let's say perhaps my center is missing the hard count per se. So if that's the case, then we visualize and we go over him hearing what he needs to hear over and over and over. We work on him just focusing on listening for that one call. We do that over time, right? And I've seen so many good results with that. They visualize it the night before. They walk themselves through the entire game. They visualize it again in the morning. They walk themselves through that entire process. And we've had really great success. And that's just one, you know, aspect of what we do specifically for their position in the game, and them working on exactly that specific thing that they want to work on, you know, at the time.
Yeah, that's great. Because like I said, old school mentality, how we get prepared for the game, turn on loud headphones, loud music, crank it up, and we just go out there. But it's kind of cool to hear you talk about some of these players, and you're actually watching film alongside the players and going over it. So it's not only they're getting it from the coaching staff, they're getting it from Stacey as well. We got a question in the chat. So my guy Mo asked, let's see here, does yoga work for people with anxiety and panic attacks? And what can you do to help? Great question, Mo.
Great question. Thanks, Mo. Yeah, 100%. In fact, for me, I was going through a pretty gnarly divorce during the time when I started yoga. And so I was having a lot of anxiety attacks, depression, whatnot. Yoga is really the bridge that helped me in my own life to overcome a lot of these things. So because I've experienced it, I can now offer and teach it to others. So grateful for my experience. But yeah, yoga is amazing for anxiety. It helps us get into our bodies. We call it embodiment. So a lot of times as humans, we live out of our bodies. We're always in the mind. We're out here in the ethers thinking about the past or the future or whatever is going on. We're not in the
specifically.
present.
Me specifically. I admit I'm guilty.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. We're not connected to our bodies. We're disassociating. Therefore, yoga helps get us in our bodies. It helps us to drop into this human earth suit that we've been given to experience this ride. It helps us to use our breath. It helps us to just acknowledge and really bring what's called the parasympathetic nervous system. So we have a sympathetic and a parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic is our fight or flight response.
Okay.
What turns on when we need to run away from a bear. It's what turns on when there's a threat or a danger. In today's society, everything turns on our sympathetic nervous system. We get a text that we like and we freak out. Yeah, right? Twitter. News. Please don't watch the news anymore, people. Like, turn off CNN. Like, just do yourself a favor. But stuff like that, it turns us into our fight or flight, which is not really meant for little things like that. So helps them drop into their parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. It's where we really need to be to bring our body into balance. So that's what I help the guys do as well, because during a game, they need to be in their sympathetic nervous system. They need to be in their fight or flight. They have to be on guard, right? It's a dogfight out there. They have to be on. When they get off the field and they're processing through regular life and they're doing other things, they have to be able to have the tools to transition from the sympathetic nervous system down into the parasympathetic and get back into that rest and digest, drop the cortisol levels and all the physiological things that need to happen. So yoga helps with that as well, which goes back to what Mo asked about anxiety, because when we're in the sympathetic, a lot of that is anxiety. It's the fast heartbeat, it's the fast breath, it's not being able to think clearly. We can't process through decisions properly. So getting on the mat and even just sitting and breathing is going to help drop you down into that parasympathetic, or what I call legs up the wall. So you're just laying on your back, you stick your legs up, and it automatically stimulates the vagus nerve, which brings us into our rest and digest just by laying on the floor and sticking your legs up the wall.
So great segue. So I was going to ask you, so someone, if they're, they don't have time and they're at work or they're on the go and they feel that anxiety starting to build, what are some quick things that they can kind of just do to kind of calm themselves down, gather themselves and kind of go back into their body?
That's one of them. Now, if you're at work and you can't lay down on your floor and put your legs up,
in the middle of the office,
right? Which I totally encourage. I just taught a corporate client, right before I got on with you. So this is something that does happen in the workplace. But if you're not able to do that, you can just sit, close your eyes, and we call it box breath. And this is something I give to my players often. So it's pretty simple. You take a breath in and let's say we'll do 4 counts. So it's an inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold the exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And you continue that for about 5 cycles. Now you can continue this longer. You can do a 5, a 6, a 7, and 8 count breath, which is optimal. But at the beginning, a lot of people can't even breathe in for that amount of time. Right. So we like to start with 4 because that's really doable for everyone. And you just do it in a box. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. 5 rounds, that'll stimulate the vagus nerve. That'll bring you back down into that parasympathetic, where then you can start to think clearly. So that's one modality that I offer my players for that you can do anywhere.
That's great. So that's a great tip, because I personally have the Apple Watch and it's always telling me you need to breathe. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm breathing. I'm healthy. I'm good. But yeah, you do need to take a second throughout your day, because like Stacey said, work builds up, family builds up, all these external things start to build up. It can really become overwhelming. Really just take some time to yourself, breathe, gather your thoughts, and get prepared and continue on with your day. My guy, the Lunatic, asked a question. What are some of the hurdles you see from players as far as their regimen is concerned?
I'd say it's different for every player, depending on if they're single, if they have a family, if they have kids, what's going on in their external life. I mean, probably as well as I do how strenuous their schedules are, and they don't have a lot of time off, and they're required and asked to do so many things. So I see the players that are most successful really, really have to make time for their recovery. And when they do make time for their recovery, that's when I see the most success. So I'd say one of the hurdles would be, time management, number one, being able to fit it in an effective way. And then also just buying into it first, once they buy into it and at least try it a couple times, they're hooked because they see the differences right away. So I would say that's probably the biggest hurdle is the time to fit in the recovery with everything else that they've been asked to do.
Yeah, it's time management, because we kind of spoke off cam about your time schedule of traveling here and there and here and there. So how do you find time in your busy, hectic schedule for yourself to make sure that you're taking care of your mental aspect and your health?
Yeah, so I developed some practices years ago when I wasn't busy, and those luckily are just part of my day. And so I call them my non-negotiables.
Okay.
And they're things that I put in my day that they might not happen at the same time every day, but they're non-negotiables that will happen every day. So I start my day the same way I suggest to my players is you wake up, before you even put your feet on the floor, you go through what you're grateful for. First and foremost.
Take notes, everybody. Take notes. She's going
to
give you nuggets.
For everybody.
Major key alerts.
For real. Yeah, for real. Like getting into gratitude is the easiest way to get out of your own shit, to get out of your own way, and to shift your vibration. So everything's energy. So when we are grateful for things and we appreciate what's already existing in our life, that automatically brings us to a higher vibrational frequency. So already in the morning, just being grateful for what I already have in this life. And then meditation is also something that is a non-negotiable for me. And that can look different for me every day, and it can look different for everyone else.
Okay.
People think meditation and they think I have to sit, I have to I have to do these things. It's not necessarily the case. There's several different ways to practice meditation. It can be a walking meditation. It can be, running meditation. It could be just seated. It could be just doing the box breath. So I practice that meditation differently every day, but for the most part, it looks like sitting, getting in my body, breathing, and then thinking, again, what I'm grateful for, how I want my day to look, what my intentions are. I also visualize how I want my day to kind of play out. And then I move my body every day, and that could look different. Whatever workout I'm doing, I'm definitely moving my body at some point every day. And I have to be in nature every day.
Yeah,
so outside, barefoot.
I saw that. So, because I was interesting take, because honestly, when I was golfing one time, when the golf instructors came over to me, and he told me to take my shoes off, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I want you to feel the grass." And so I saw your Instagram. I think it was today or yesterday.
Yeah.
But you're talking about like having your feet in the grass. And so go ahead and before I go that, salute to my guy Birdman, Eagles fan. Super chat, $5 holler, appreciate you. He says, "Thank you, Stacey, for accepting the challenge and getting those players right." So they like you. See, it wasn't too bad, But yeah, I want to go back to that whole, you were talking about take your shoes off, walk in grass. Well, how does that really help?
Okay, so people think I'm crazy all the time for telling them to take their shoes off. I'm like, take your shoes off, take your shoes off. And, it's not just for grounding. Like, I want people to take their shoes off also, because when we put shoes on, they're made to mimic the muscles in our feet. If you look how a tennis shoe is and how the base of the tennis shoe, they try to mimic the muscles, right, of the foot. So when you put your foot in, your muscles in your feet go, "Oh, thank you very much. I don't have to work anymore. You just gave me an out." So your muscles don't work in your feet.
Going back to the big toe.
Going back to the big toe, right? Your feet have been lazy because they've been sitting in shoes. So get your feet out of the damn shoes anytime you can. And then being outside. So your feet, at the bottom of your feet, we have energy centers called chakras, right? So there's energy centers all throughout our body. We have them at the bottom of our feet. The earth, Mother Earth, has a frequency of her own. And if you go outside and you put your feet in the earth, your energy centers at the bottom of your feet and the earth's frequency are connected. So you're taking on the earth frequency, which is very healing to our body. It's amazing the technology that we've been given in these bodies that we don't know about, right? Like the energy centers, like the chakras, like the breath. So it's been proven, go outside, stick your feet in the earth. This helps with so many things. It helps you feel grounded. It helps you feel connected. It helps you feel embodied in your body and connected to where you live, Earth, right? Yeah, Chris, transfer energy through Mother Nature. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's it. And so that's just some of the benefits, right?
Right.
For my players, they're traveling a lot, right? As I am too. When you travel from, California, let's say, to Tampa, or from Texas to Tampa, you're going to feel that shift from the travel, right? Not necessarily maybe just the jet lag, but also a time difference. So if you get outside and put your feet in the earth, that'll automatically calibrate you to the place that you now are in.
Okay.
Helps with jet lag, helps get you grounded and balanced. So if I'm going to play a game in Tampa, I'm going to get my feet in the earth as soon as possible so that I can get rid of the jet lag, so I can ground into where I am, and I can be really centered and focused in this new space.
And when you say that, me personally, when I go on vacation and I go to a beach and I put my feet in the sand or I get in the ocean, I feel so much serenity and I feel so much better. But I didn't know I was getting any vibration. I just thought because I'm away from work and away from all the hustle and bustle. But it really makes sense when you do that, because the place where I'm mostly at peace is on the beach, feet in the sand, or in the ocean. Like, I just feel like everything's calm, even though I'm not the best swimmer.
No, but you just said it. Like, that was gold right there. So even though you don't know the technology behind grounding, you're feeling it.
Exactly. Well, Stacey, I don't want to keep you all night because I know you're extremely busy. But before I let you go, I got to get a message to Cowboys Nation. Like I said, Cowboys fan, we've been stressed out. We've been uptight. We've been arguing. We've been fighting. Everything kind of started. Maybe some of it's been kind of my fault, Stacey, but it's not. Maybe I just need to go to a beach and chill out a little bit. That's probably what it is. But it's been a lot of build up when it comes to Cowboys fans. So going into this season, how can Cowboys fans just calm themselves down before game day and relax? Because like I said, I used to have to take my blood pressure like during games because I would be like so stressed out for games. My heart rate monitor would be beeping off like I'm just too tense. So what can we do when we're sitting back watching games, getting prepared for game day to kind of calm ourselves? If we start off with a slow start, this zen me, Stacey. I need help right now. What can I do to calm? Because everyone in the chat's like, Tuck, you need this more than anybody. And absolutely I do, because I've been very uptight like the past few weeks. Like, I've been like tense. That's why I was like, Stacey, I need help. So what can we do to zen down, just kind of calm ourselves down going through this, Cowboys football season that's about to kick off here in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, just rest assured that I got the guys.
You got them.
I got them.
All right.
They're good. Everybody's good. We spent every weekend up at training camp. I held recovery days for them. We literally rented a suite. We had IV, massage, performance stretch therapy, which I also do, and yoga. So I got them. They're good. Second of all, just know that when you guys are watching the game, when I'm watching the game, we have no control.
I know. You sure we don't have some control?
Zero. You have zero control.
Yeah, like just a little bit.
Zero donuts. No control over what's happening on that screen or on that field in front of you. So take a step back, take a breath, enjoy the experience, be in the moment. Right?
Don't be thinking about next week's game. Just enjoy what's going on.
Just enjoy. Practice in the last preseason game, right? Like, let's just practice on the last preseason. Okay? It's out of your control.
Breathe in the box.
Right? Breathe. Do your box breath. Be appreciative of the good stuff.
Right?
Look at the other stuff and just be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, well, at least we're not the Jaguars. Okay, I'm grateful we're not the Jaguars. All right, well, that's a start.
Just breathe and enjoy, because at the end of the day, it's a game, right? It's a game, and it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be entertainment. It's not supposed to be stressful. And this is what I tell my guys too, right? Is that they are like, oh, this is so hard, and I go, why do you play football? Why do you watch football? Because it's fun.
Right.
Because it's fun. It's a game. It's something that we, they have done all since growing up, and maybe a lot of fans have played too since growing up. So let go of what happens, because it's out of your control anyways. Enjoy watching the game, get passionate, get involved, but
not too stressed out.
Just check yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because what's the point?
Yeah.
Why are you stressing out over something you can't control anyways? It's there for fun. That's just a game.
Yeah, so Cowboys fam, I am holding you guys accountable. When you guys see me going off the rails during the season, they tuck, breathe, right? Get back into yourself and chill out. Because I've been out of myself, honestly, Stacey, for like the past week since I got back from Oxnard. I've been all out of myself right now, so I'm needing to zen out. So thank you for coming on this channel. I believe a lot of people pull for this. Like I said, when I met you in Oxnard, it was just like, I gotta have her on because she's very insightful, great knowledge, just a great person, great spirit. So I definitely appreciate you. Now, what people are probably asked is if they want to get into yoga, how could they find you? Now, we've been having conversations. She's not on YouTube yet. We're gonna work on that.
I mean, I am. There's tons of videos on there,
yet. We're gonna get there. But if someone wants to kind of just get into yoga and just maybe just start on their own, or maybe researching and learning more, not only where can they find you, but where can they find more information?
Yeah, so I'd say go to my Instagram is probably the best thing to do. It's yoga girl GURL 33. And I don't know if there's somewhere you can type that, but yeah, Yoga Girl 33 is probably the best way. Send me a DM, check out what I do, the performance stretch therapy. I try to put little tidbits of things on there as much as I can. And then, you know, this guy's trying to get me to start a YouTube channel. So, you know, I don't know, you guys interested, then we can do that.
Y'all tell Stacey she needs her own YouTube channel. That way we can just, you know, go to her YouTube channel and just zen out and calm down. We need a resource, right? So,
yeah. And anybody can do it. And there's all different types of yoga, right? Like there's so many different, I mean, with the guys, we do restorative yoga. So it's called yin yoga. So it's not, you know, power yoga. It's not hot yoga. We're not doing, you know, vinyasa flow. We're doing stuff specifically for recovery. So you can do really mellow, easy stretches. You don't have to like jump in.
Because I've done yoga before. It was P90X yoga actually, and I was like,
oh god,
I was like, what is this? Like, I was actually breaking a sweat, and my arms were all sore. I'm like, this is not what I expected. So I need to kind of just start off at the very bottom level as far as yoga. Then maybe I'll build myself up. So
let's just stretch.
Just stretch. And to be honest with you, I do not stretch at all. I'm zero. You know, I do a couple of toe touches, and then I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Okay, I just took on an NBA client last week, and I won't, you know, name names or anything or say where he's from, but he literally has not stretched ever.
Yeah, I know.
So, you know, you can start at any time.
I relate.
No matter how old you are.
yeah, but you're definitely going to need, because like I said, as the older you get, you definitely want to be more flexible. Like I said, because the older you get, you jump out the bed and your bones start cracking and aching. And it's because you lack of flexibility, lack of stretching, all the sports I played coming up. And, you know, it starts to mount on you. So you definitely want to take care of yourself. Like I always say on my channel, health is wealth. And so we now have a resource, Cowboys fan, to reach out to. If you're having questions, Stacey will be your contact. So definitely follow her on Instagram and shortly on YouTube. So Stacey, I definitely appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I had to share your story. We'll definitely have to do it again. And like I said, people, take care of your mentals, right? Because it's important. It's important. So I think a lot of people grabbed a lot of great nuggets and information from you. So like I said, thanks again. And for those viewing me for the first time, comment, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Cowboys Fans Only. Follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be a lot more peaceful on Twitter, a lot more relaxed. I'm not going to cause as much chaos. Namaste. We're going to chill out. And then cowboysfansonly.com to get your merch and use the code CFO gang to get 10% off. We got to get ready for a Hard Knocks here coming soon. So at 9 o'clock. So Cowboys fans, we got to get ready to tune in for that. And we're definitely going to be recapping that show later. But like I said, Stacey, I appreciate you and best of luck, because like I said, it's great to see you living your dream, traveling back and forth, training these players. It's really great to see, and stay on top of them, right? So stay on top of them.
I am, don't worry. I do have guys on all teams though, so I can't comment.
Yeah, all teams. Yeah, she can't show any favoritisms, but just for our guys, focus on them. Like, give them a little extra, like the other teams will be okay.
I always do.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, everyone, I appreciate you for joining in. Everyone stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged.